Good morning. So first I just want to say thanks to a few people that have helped us with I think we had a very thorough process. And Kevin Colbert, my brother Dan, and Coach Tomlin all very helpful with interviews and making sure, as I say, we had a very thorough process. And obviously we picked a guy we know very well, and excited that we know Omar knows us, and so I think it'll be a very smooth transition. So without further ado, I'm happy to introduce Omar Khan as the next general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hello everyone, appreciate you guys all being here today on my account. I want to begin by thanking Art Rooney and the entire search committee, Dan Rooney Jr., Kevin Colbert, Coach T. I'm confident that time will show this was the right decision for this franchise. I'm excited. I can tell you that I don't take anything for granted, and I understand the expectations that come with this job, but I can assure everyone that the expectations that I set for myself are even greater. Before I take any questions, I'd like to just mention some people that have been very important to me in my life. First and foremost, my wife Kristen and our two daughters. I'm so blessed to have them in my life. The four of us, we make such a great team together. I have a great team here at work. When I go home, I have a great team, although I have no authority with that team when I go home. But we get along so well. They're very supportive of me, and like I said, I'm very blessed to have them in my life. So thank you. To all my close family and friends, especially my parents, I come from two amazing parents. My mom, my dad, both immigrants. My mom's Hispanic, she's from Honduras. My father, he's Indian. Both of whom have had the opportunity to live the American dream and have always done whatever they had to do to make sure my brother, my sister, and I always had the resources necessary to succeed. To this day, they're the two hardest working people I've ever met in my life. Today's as much for them as it is for me. I mean, they're also the ones that had to listen at 8, 9, 10, 12, 14-year-old kid tell him that he didn't want to be a lawyer, he didn't want to be an engineer, he didn't want to be a doctor, a teacher, a policeman, a fireman. All he wanted to do was work in the National Football League, become a general manager, and win a bunch of Super Bowls. To all of the great football people that have helped me along the way and have helped shape who I am and helped me in my development. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Ambassador Dan Rooney. Him and I had such a special and unique relationship. Learned so much from him. To the entire Rooney family, I've said this before, the Rooney family, especially Art and Mr. Rooney, they've taught me so much, not only about the game of football and the business of the NFL, but about life and being a person. I am who I am. The person you see here today is who he is for having known the Rooney family, especially Art and Mr. Rooney. To Kevin Colbert, what can I say? Kevin and I have worked together for over 20 years, and I find it hard to believe that there's two people in this business that have worked as well together as Kevin and I have for so long. It's been an honor, and I'm excited that he's always going to be just a phone call away from me. To Coach Tomlin, what can I say? I mean, to step into this job and know that you're going to be working hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder with Mike Tomlin, I mean that's a dream come true. One thing I will say about Coach is I've never met anybody that has a greater passion for the game of football than Mike Tomlin at all levels. And I'm not just talking pro football, but it's Mike. But his passion is amazing. And that resonates on all of us in this building, myself included. Coach, I'm excited. Let's get it. I could be here forever. I know you guys don't want to be here forever. Some of you guys want to go golfing and stuff like that. But there's so many people that, Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher and I, to this day, have a strong relationship. We communicate periodically, and, he's been, when I've gone through these processes, he's not only been a great advisor, but he's been a great friend. Coach Cowher, I've never met anybody that's been able to give me a better perspective on things in life, whether it's personal or football, than Coach. He's been tremendous, so Coach, thank you. Again, there's so many people. I mean, Bill Nunn, Ron Hughes, Joe Green, Billy Kuharich, Chet Franklin. I could be here forever. The people in this building, this is a tremendous organization with tremendous people that have also helped shape who I am here today. So with that said, I know I forgot some names, but all the great players that have been here. You know, been around some tremendous players here, and I've gotten to know players that were here before me, and you know, we have some great players here. And like I said, I'm excited to be here and ready to take any questions.
Omar, when you got into this business, was your goal, was your dream, general manager, president, what was when you got started? Did you think that that's what you wanted to do and that's what your rise to?
Yeah, my dream since I was young, you know, I spoke to Missy yesterday. I was telling her that, you know, she asked me when did I realize I wanted to work in the NFL, and I said, or be a general manager. I said, look, when I was running around that football field and I realized I wasn't as good of an athlete as everyone else on that field, I said I better change course and, you know, maybe not try to be Archie Manning, but try to be Jim Finks maybe.
Omar, how much will things change with you from Kevin? Will you do things different, or?
Yeah, obviously, you know, being in this role, the responsibilities shift a little bit, but you know, I have my hands on a lot of things that I've done before, and obviously had my hands in other things, and you know, it'll be a smooth transition.
Omar, you beat out 15 other candidates. What do you think put you over the edge in Art's eyes?
Yeah, you know, you'd have to ask Art that. I mean, I have, yeah, I think I'm the right person for the job, and I think I'm going to be successful. And you know, I can't speak. They're great. Those were all great candidates. I mean, I know most of those guys. I know very well, and they're all very qualified. And I'm pretty certain every one of those guys will be a general manager at some point.
This process played out for a few months, and you had 2 interviews. But in between that, did you just focus on the job at hand and forget about it, or was it in your back of your mind?
You know, I guess I had the advantage of having gone through this process before, and I understand, you know, what it entails. And you know, when you're in this business, you work hard to just get to the point where you're in the mix. And so, you know, you're always appreciative. So, you know, I was patient, and you know, I had the experience of going through it before.
Omar, you're known mostly as kind of the cap guy. It's pretty much how the public has known you for a while. What do you bring to this job, including from a football capacity?
Yeah, look, I can tell you that from the first day I started here in Pittsburgh, it's been all about football and building a championship roster here. And I learned that from day one, and that's not going to change.
Omar, I know you have a good relationship with Andy. What does he help bring to the table for what you do?
You know, I've known Andy for over 20 years. He's a strong evaluator. He's a very loyal person. I think he's a Steeler type of person.
Omar, when speaking about the player evaluation side of things, the talent evaluation side of things, since it's referenced before, we sort of know you through the business lens and the cap lens. Do you see yourself leaning on the opinions of others, perhaps more early, to work your way into more of an expertise on the player evaluation end, or how much of that have you built that maybe we don't know, having not really dealt with you publicly so much?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm confident saying that I've touched every aspect of the football operations, obviously some more than others, but I think every good leader understands his strengths and his weaknesses, and you know, neither of which I'm going to discuss here publicly, but I think every good leader surrounds himself around smart people that are going to help him succeed, and that's my plan.
Omar, I know you're early in building the rest of your staff, but when you look at some guys who have been here for a long time, like Brandon Hunt and Kevin Colbert, do you anticipate them having roles in your staff going forward?
You know, the process right now, literally these guys have been at Blesto meetings, and I just got hired a couple of days ago. It's a real fluid process, and you know, as soon as we can confirm every name, you know, we will. I can tell you guys that I have hired Andy Weidel and Sheldon White. I'm not going to get into titles and responsibilities, and also Dan Colbert, he's been promoted to a senior level position. We'll get into titles, except Bert will confirm when we can.
You touched a little bit on Kevin. What did you learn from him over all those years?
A couple things. Number one, when Joe Green speaks, you listen. That's number one. And number two, you know, and this goes way before Kevin, but we're always going to build this through the draft. And I can't ever forget that, and I won't. And you know, he was always big on that, and that's, you know, it goes back to Art and the Cerruti, and that's going to continue.
Omar, you guys have gone to the playoffs 2 years in a row, one division title in there, but you know, the postseason success hasn't been there. As you step into this role, what's your overall evaluation of the state of the franchise and the trajectory? You
know, the trajectory, I'm excited about it. The 90 guys we have in that locker room right now, I'm really excited about the future and where I think you know, we can go.
Omar, you mentioned your relationship with Kevin. What does it mean to you to kind of be stepping in, you know, following his legacy while at the same time starting and creating your own?
You know, I don't know if I look at it as that specifically, but you know, he's always a phone call away from me. You know, I'm always, there's not gonna be a lot of change here. I mean, I'm obviously have some ideas that I wanna implement and put in place, but I don't foresee a lot of change.
Omar, you've had other opportunities. What's kept you loyal and patient here with the Steelers?
This is where I'm old. I mean, this just the fact that this is the dream job for me. This is the one I've always wanted, you know, and it just wasn't available when I've interviewed for those other ones, but it was available this time and it worked out, and I'm grateful.
How did you first end up here? What was this the dream job then, or were you just trying to get your foot in the door with any organization?
You mean before?
20 years ago, 20-some years ago.
You know, I was working for the Saints, and to be honest with you, I was born and raised in New Orleans, and no one ever, I never thought I'd be leaving New Orleans. And then, you know, one day I got a call from the Steelers about a position, and obviously the opportunity to work for the Roonies, I wasn't gonna pass it up. I came up here, interviewed, and you know, I just felt at home from the very beginning, and fortunately they hired me.
For as strong, obviously, as your candidacy was, Brandon's too, and all the people that have stayed around the organization for as long as they have. You just mentioned bringing in 2 guys from the outside. A lot of outside candidates were interviewed as well. Is that important to get outside eyes on your team too, to get a different perspective from other folks that have worked well in other organizations?
Yeah, it's always good to get you know, new ideas. But we have a lot of great people here who have great ideas also. You know, this is, like I mentioned, a fluid process. I'm gonna continue to meet with those guys and kind of put things in place. I mean, I've literally been on the job for a couple of days, so a lot of moving parts.
Omar, what's it like being in such a transition part where not just you're changing, but new defensive coordinator, Ben Roethlisberger's gone, new first-round draft pick quarterback. What are the challenges of being part of that, other parts, other areas changing as well with you?
Yeah, you know, I'd say it's exciting, really. You know, it's exciting. You know, we have some of the great people Coach Tomlin has on his staff, and you know, I mentioned the players, and I'm excited about some of the people we have, you know, people we have here, and some of the people I'm bringing in. I just think the future's bright.
Omar, you mentioned your wife, your parents, and just them supporting you. What's it like telling them when you get the call from Art that they're offering you the job? What were those moments like sharing with your family?
You know, first call was to my wife, Kristen. So obviously it was a lot of joy, you know, just knowing that we're here. You know, I love it here. My wife's from Western PA. My kids were born here. I've been here for 22 years, and this is where I want to be. I mean, I'm a Western PA person now. I mean, it still hasn't necessarily hit me, but it's been great. My parents were just thrilled. You know, my dad, and especially my dad, he's been looking forward to this moment for a long time.
Omar, Mike and Kevin had a unique relationship for a long time. How do you feel that your relationship will be with Mike moving forward in a more of a personnel type relationship?
You know, I think it's going to be an easy transition. Coach T and I have had a great relationship over the last it's been 16 years. 16 years, and you know, we've confided in each other in a lot of things. We've spent a lot of time together. It's going to be a smooth transition.
You want to be at the pro days in March drinking some
part of the
tea?
job. Sweet tea? Yeah, I might have young sweet. Yeah.
Omar, you talked about some ideas that you have. Is there going to be any changes to the team stance on how and when you guys negotiate with players in-house in terms of contracts, that kind of thing?
No, you know, those discussions are always going to be, you know, we're going to get in a room and decide what the best timing is for that. And, you know, those big decisions are always going to be Steeler decisions.
Well, I meant more like, you know, not negotiating during the season, waiting until the last year of the contract.
Yeah, those principles will stay in place, yeah.
In some of Kevin's final interviews, he talked a little bit about just how the game is changing, the league's changing, and you look forward to seeing how whoever replaces him kind of grows into that. What are your thoughts kind of generally on the role of analytics in football and just the wave, I guess, that Kevin said, you know, he looks forward to seeing how the Steelers adapt?
Yeah, you know, anything that can help us improve or win football games, you know, we're going to look into and utilize. I'm not going to, you know, I have some cool ideas I think I'm going to implement. I'm probably not going to share those publicly. I don't want anybody else knowing those, but, you know, we're going to use every tool or every opportunity we have to get better.
You mentioned that it hasn't entirely hit you yet. Can you just describe a little bit of the emotions, you know, when you officially found out that, hey, you're going to be the new GM of this team?
You know, when I was sitting down with Art and he told me, and, you know, I tried controlling myself from smiling too much. I was I was thrilled, you know, it's a dream come true. I actually gave him a hug on the way out, so it's awesome.
Omar, what does Andy bring to this organization? Did you fight for him, or did Art want him?
Yeah, no, I've known Andy for a long time, and when I went, we had meetings and discussed how I wanted to structure this, and I just felt like, Andy was a valuable piece, would be a valuable piece to me, and just very fortunate we were able to work things out and get him over here.
Omar, just to sort of clarify some of the things you brought up about your background, you said your parents are first-generation immigrants, both?
Yeah, both.
So, were they young when they moved here? Like, where did your family's love for football? Were you the first person that really liked football in your family?
No, you know what, football, my dad probably moved here, I think he was late teens, don't quote me on that. My mom, I think, was in her 20s, and they met in New Orleans, and, eventually I came around, but, the football in this league, in this game, has always been the bond that I had with my dad. From early on, he taught me, about the game. I grew up a diehard Saints fan, when I used to talk about Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling, Sam Mills, Vaughn Johnson, he'd tell me, he goes, well, you need to hear about, let me teach you about this guy named Jack Ham and Jack Lambert, and I used to know every one of the Saints team, and he used to tell me about a guy named Joe Green and Franco Harris, and it was kind of ironic that, fast forward, I ended up in Pittsburgh. I've been hearing about those Lynn Swan.
So he was a Steelers fan, probably.
I was.
He was a Steelers.
He loved great players, and the great teams, and he knew all about them.
Omar, there's been a lot made this offseason about the NFL and diversity and trying to improve that. What does it mean to you to be someone that's a minority and be given this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get to the point where we're not even, having need to have those conversations. But I'm excited about what the league is doing and the initiatives. Commissioner and Art, and there's some really great things that they're doing, and I think it's headed in the right direction.
Couple more.
When it comes to Sheldon White, what does he bring to the organization?
Lots of experience. Very loyal person. He's going to be an asset. Again, he's a Steeler type of person, and I'm not going to get into specifics into role and titles right now, but he's going to be a great addition here.
Omar, will Kevin have a role, or will you talk to him? Will you use him as a sounding board?
Yeah, we're still working through that process. It's really fluid, but I hope so. Kevin and I have a great relationship.
You've several times called someone a Steelers type person. What does that mean to you? What does define a Steelers type?
Well, it's a good question. Obviously, have to believe black and gold. They got to be loyal. They got to, fit into our culture here. Just good people. Everyone here. You look through this organization, you get to know the people in this building. It's full of really, really good people. Guys you're bringing on, they're good people. They'll fit in nicely.
Will you switch offices? Omar, will you switch offices?
Jerry, I'm working through that right now.